So good. How do you feel when you do this meditation? It's soothing, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so we will do our. Everybody got the copy of the text? We finish verse number up to 7, right? Each verse, you can check when each verse contain, and if you elaborate, it can go a lot more deep. Truth. You can so many explanation could be there, but maybe we don't go. Maybe in the future we can do this particular text separately, because the verse number 1 to 7 is like preliminary in a way. It's called like preliminary, meaning it's not the actual practice. Of course, in the actual, what does it mean by actual practice, and then in the preliminary practice? When you do the practice, compassion, loving kindness, altruistic mind, instead the Bodhisattva practice is mainly, try to generate as much as possible this altruistic mind, the bodhicitta. Bodhisattva and bodhicitta. You need to make the differentiation. You talk about the bodhisattva and bodhicitta, right? Bodhicitta, bodhi mean awaken, or another word people often translate like enlightened mind. So what does it mean by enlightened mind? A mind that purified or that remove all the mental dirt, and that mind is become bodhi mind. That's a Buddha's mind. But bodhisattva, someone who have generated that true mind, and that person is bodhisattva. Got it? And the bodhisattva path, there are 5 paths, 10 ground. This will go slowly, but right now, like me, I'm really beginner. I'm not in the bodhisattva path yet, but we all have strong inspiration, inspire with this path.
Well, Bhante, certainly any being in a lower realm could not have purified all the defilements.
You never know. Yeah, I mean, as long as you are trapped into the samsaric life, we are not free from those afflictions, but we more or less see that having this affliction is trouble, and then is there a way that you could really remove it or not? You need to think about it. Yes, you can minimize it. Definitely you can tell by our own kind of experience. If you try to see the disadvantage being angry, instead of anger, maybe more loving kindness, and jealousy, anger, competitive mind. These are affliction. These actually trap us into the samsara, meaning unending trouble, keep coming again and again. The cycling all the time because of self. Another word, self-grasping ignorance is the root cause of the suffering. Self-grasping ignorance, thinking that me is the most important thing than others, me and mind. And if you go to the technical thing, what is self-grasping ignorance? How this self-grasping ignorance is really root, meaning the root cause to bring about the other, mental, dirt. Mental, dirt mean affliction, like jealousy. How many of you think jealousy is a bad thing? I'm just curious. I'm really curious about that. It's a bad thing, right? Yeah. So when you consider, when you recognize that bad thing, why we try to rid of it, right? This immediately, this other mind will, other kind of thinking will come, because these qualities in the remedy or the antidote to overcome jealousy, it exists within our mind stream. You don't have to go somewhere else to look for it. That's why the mind is so beautiful. Mind is everything. Mind is the chiefs. Whether you lead to the right direction or the wrong direction is the mind. So because of that, study about mind is very important. So yes.
This is a question, another question about Bodhisattva.
Okay.
So that Bodhisattva could be in the hell now, but it will- but doesn't, that means that they would back there after they achieved a higher mind.
No, no, no.
Actually, in the hell realm, you can become a Bodhisattva, some better.
Right. While they are in the hell realm or animal body, they can generate true mind that free others from suffering and get full awakening or the full enlightenment, Buddhahood, for the benefit of other beings. This kind of mind can generate with while they are in the animal realms or the hell realms. The minute they generate the true and genuine bodhicitta, bodhicitta awakening mind, so then they will reborn into the higher realm, meaning human gods and like demigods. So when you look in the world system, so we have many different types of beings, categorized in different types of beings, mainly six. I think you're all aware of them or not. If not, I'll tell that. Okay, in this existence, meaning not really the external existence, the living beings. This is what the Buddhist philosophy teach you. Living beings are categorized in six different, groups. Let's say groups. Three higher beings and three lower beings. Three higher beings and the three lower beings. Lower meaning because of their contaminated karma, affliction, because of that they are reborn into animal, hell, or hungry ghosts. The three lower beings are, maybe if you want to write down, the three lower beings are animal, hell, and then hungry ghosts.
Hungry.
Hungry ghost.
What about the angry demons? We're in.
Some could be.
Five lower realms: human, animal, ghost.
What was that?
In
Five what?
There are five lower realms and
Lower realms.
31 heavenly realms.
Oh.
So the lower realms are human.
No, human are not lower realms. Human are not lower realms. Lower realms, lower meaning lower rebirth. I'm sorry. Realms and the rebirth is different again. The realms, there are three realms. Three realms. REALMs, right?
Yeah.
Three realms, six different beings. Six different beings. And then the six different beings are classified in two. Three lower beings, and three higher beings. This is what in the sutra and the commentaries of the masters have explained. But then if you go to the detail about this, you have that. Yeah, the three lower beings are, you got all of them, right?
Yep.
Animal, hungry ghosts, and then hells. And then the three higher beings are human, gods, and demigods. Scout errors puzzle a little bit. You know already, so you just you need to help me if I'm making a mistake. Sometimes human gods and demigods, they are higher beings.
That would correspond with the human form realm gods and the formless realm gods.
Gods are in the desire realm, and then when you're saying three realms, desire realms, form realms, and formless realms. This is how you classify it. And then within the desire realms, we have four different types of humans, and then I think six different types of gods. And then the six different types of gods are also classified in another what? I think 30 what? These are actually the 31, something like that. That's actually come into the, when you study Buddhist epistemology, and there's a whole, it's called like a sadlam, ground and path. One particular text, you could study all of them in details. But we are in higher realms. We are not in lower realms. We're human beings. Out of the three, like higher beings, humans are more superior. Human minds, human intelligence is more superior. That's what many of the texts I explain. Okay, so this is what we are God. Now, what we are doing here, the verse number 7 we finished, and we are going to do the verse number 8. And you need to know about why this verse number 7. We did a little bit about this. The verse number 7, where you say, themselves captive in the prison of samsara, whom can the worldly gods protect? Therefore, to seek refuge in the three jewels, who do not betray you, is the practice of Bodhisattvas. We're here about this, what is called, meaning, what kind of, like a refuge, object of refuge you are looking, what kind of protection you are looking, object of protection. And I think I explained a little bit earlier, the main protection out of the three jewels in Buddhist texts is explained about there are three we call also triple gems, or the three object of refuge. The three object of refuge, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And then Buddha, who is awakened one, completely eradicate the cognitive obscuration, afflictive obscuration, and the cognitive obscuration. These are kind of technical sort of word, but the term, given that what is cognitive, affliction, and then what is affliction, like afflictive obscuration. Obscuration, right? When you say obscuration, is obscure you to attain that state, that mental state. Fully awakened mean, if you are fully awakened, our mind could travel freely. Right now we have limitation, right? So when you remove all this obscuration, our mind could be freely reach. But freely move means freely move with the compassion and altruistic mind, and then wisdom and knowledge, not really just like a monkey mind like this. I know our mind right now, you can move too, but it's under the control or under the sway of like a selfishness, egoistic mind, or cherishing yourself, or grasping that whatever you see is something that is belong to me. It's so strong here, and that it disturb you. It just really happen. So when you do the meditation, study text, read the words very clearly, word flows, and then meaning, to reflect on the meaning, and then try to think some deep sort of thought. Here, themselves captive in the prison of samsara. If someone who is trapped in samsara, if they are not free from the samsara itself, they may have no, power. They may have no ability to free us. So if someone who is, I very often give the example of the metaphor. For example, if two people, take an example, if two people, trapped in mud, okay, mud. If both are like trapped into the mud, halfway your body, there, sink under that. If both are there, you know, they both have no, kind of a possible to take the other ones from the mud outside, right? Because they both are trapped into the mud. If two human beings, so anybody, two person in prison, locked in the gate, they both are in the cell and locked. So the other one have no power to free the other one, right? Similarly, if the object of refuge, for example, if someone who is trapped in like that prison, he or she have no power to free you. So you're not really going to look this kind of object of refuge and go to look someone who can lead you. So, but then how can you look that kind of refuge? It's another whole, it's difficult. It is difficult. It is really difficult. How can you, the thing is, you need to build the confidence, build trust, build more kind of a mutual, understanding each other. But you can spend time as long as you want. That's very important. You can't really jump to say, okay, this is my guru and this is my teacher. No, just study. This is all the Lama Tsongkhapa's Lamrim, the great treatise of the path to enlightenment. He have explained about what kind of refuge you're looking, what kind of teacher you want to have. You can spend like even like 12 if you want, if you need to spend like 12 years, you can do. But while you're checking, but not really judgmental way, meaning just check about this, what kind of qualities he or she have. And if you see this good qualities within him or her, and slowly build, get built. You have to be really honest and unbiased mind. When you're doing the checking, you have to be really honest and unbiased mind. But because we all, we are all, I think we're all in samsara. We all have this kind of limitation there. But we are all also trying to get away from this trap, like this net of what do you call it, net, right? Where you bind into this samsara, this suffering thing. So what in this one, I thought I'm going to explain a little bit more what kind of object of refuge. And then it's quite easy to say Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Then are we kind of in the situation where you could really meet the Buddha or not? No. I mean, of course, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is truly embodiment of the Buddha of compassion. But in the world, how many people really recognizing, or how many people really understand, how many people have access, another word, how many people have access to see his qualities, his teaching. He's completely devoted to others. There's nothing for himself, but because of the being's karma, karma, in the previous karma is not really, ripened yet. So there are people who don't see the qualities of him. It's sad, but it is there. There are. But I think we are all attracted to his teaching somehow, I guess, directly or indirectly. And when you say Buddha is the teacher, that the example that given about the three jewels, Buddha is like the doctor who is really, diagnostic, right? Diagnosis. My accent is strange. Diagnosis of the illness of the beings, and who could see that okay, he or she is in trouble because some sophisticated is going on, some mental disturbance there, and there's some conflict within the family, and family friends are there. But then how can you really smartly sort it out, this uh, conflict? Someone have to do some mediating, right? So then we all have to do something like that. So Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. These three are the, here, verse number 7, where he said that, whom can the worldly gods protect you? So who are the worldly god? Who is not worldly god? And these are another things. And it's very important for us to be, like respect for all religion. His Holiness the Dalai Lama have like many commitments, but out of there are categorized in its four. Out of the four, the second one is actually his wish to promoting religious harmony in the world, promoting religious harmony, and each authentic, I usually try to use the authentic tradition, and then people may ask, what is not authentic? I'm sorry, but we have to make kind of some boundary. Right? This is how you need to learn. You have to ask the question. Okay, he or she said authentic tradition. And what are the authentic, what is not authentic? But then it's up to us. It's completely 100% up to us to make the, analyzing, using our own, ability, our own intelligence, what is right and what is not right. But the thing that there's something that you think is not right is not really true either, because we have the limitation, because maybe we are influenced of the bias thinking. And it's quite difficult to make this kind of judgment. But then I think the best thing is just keep it open. As a human being, we should just respect each other different views, and what kind of refuge you want is free, is up completely up to you. And if there is any kind of hypocrisy hypocrisy hypocrisy, is there any controversial things are there, if there's a hypocrisy things are there, and probably stay distant is better. But from heart, be compassionate. One of my teacher actually often said there are some controversy things are there about this God thing, and just be compassionate. Be compassionate, respect, even though they're, like a more kind of manipulating or controversy, but they have Buddha nature. As long as, beings, living beings, someone who have mind, they have Buddha nature. Buddha nature means they have the capacity, they have the seed to become Buddha one day. They have the seed, the possibility that they can remove whatever this external forces are there. But be compassionate. Be compassionate doesn't mean that look them down, respect them too. But whether you want to go under that or not is up to us. We need to make good decision. Right? So whom can the worldly gods protect? Therefore, to seek refuge in the three jewels, who do not betray you, meaning those who do not deceive you. The number one thing, the Buddha, or the object of refuge, the three out of three refuge, Buddha, Bodhisattvas could be your, like a guides, good guides, GUIDE, guides, instructor, guide, good guides, right? Who there are many qualities you could think about, but out of the qualities, just check how much compassionate that person is, how much patient that person is, how much loving kindness that person is, how much understanding that person is. Checking all this, what kind of good qualities he or she may have. If someone have very kind, compassionate mind, is something that you could be in a reliable, another reliable God, Ajahn Dharma Kirti. Have you heard that? It's 7th century Nalanda masters. Oh no, sorry, Ajahn Dignaga. I think I'm throwing in many kind of a term. Don't worry. These are interesting. These important things when you're talking this number 7 about the object of refuge. And Charan Dignaka is actually 5th century, I think, in Nalanda Masters, in ancient Indian Nalanda Masters, and who have summarized about what kind of refuge you are looking. A reliable guide. He used the reliable guide. Reliable guide. Meaning someone that reliable. You can relate that. You can really rely on him or her. So what is the main qualities the person has? It's motivated with compassion, altruistic mind. He used the motivated with altruistic mind. The one who has transformed into reliable guide, motivated with altruism to benefit sentient being. To you, Ami prostration. This is what he have summarized in there. So the main quality is compassion or altruistic mind. You need to look at that. Okay. that's you could be our Buddha. We could have our own Buddha. Why not? Our own Buddha doesn't mean selfish way. There's someone who is really enlighten us, someone who is really leading us into the right path. There are, in a way, it's in different forms of Buddha. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can appear in different forms, right? Another day, who was there? Somebody was asking if Jesus could be Buddha or Bodhisattva or not. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Buddhist teaching have explained many, example that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can appear in different forms. So that's why religious harmony is very important, but you can't really manipulate either. Sometimes people can manipulate and they deceive, and then at the end you're in the trouble. So because of that, it's very important to that. Therefore, to seek refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, who do not betray, is the practice of Bodhisattva. So this is actually number 7. We'll go to the number 8 today. I think we have time, yes. And then the number 8, now, the numbers, the verse number 1 to 7 is more like a preliminary preparation to do the actual practice.
The introduction.
Introduction, yes, exactly. Out of the 3 outlines, the introduction. So in verse number 8 is the actual practice. Now you're more serious. Of course, in the introduction is important. You're preparing what kind of things we need. Yeah, exactly. So number 8, where you have the subject said, all the unbearable suffering of bad rebirth is the fruits of wrongdoing. Therefore, even at the cost of your life, never do wrong. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. Now, here he is introducing about how that we take rebirth in this, unbearable suffering states of the beings. We don't have to scare. It is something that we can learn, something that we can, overcome. So what I was thinking was, I thought, the subduer said, what it says here. I'm just referring in the Tibetan one, and then the English one, I get more understanding in the Tibetan one better. This one has slightly different translation. It said the suffering of the lower realms, so difficult to bear, is what the Buddha taught to be the fruit of negative actions. Therefore, even at the cost of your life, never to commit negative action is the practice of Bodhisattvas. I have 3 different translations. This translation has the suffering of the lower realms. We talk about the lower realms, right? So how many lower realms? 3, right? Then the 3 lower realms: hell, hungry ghosts, and animals. And then why they have taken that kind of difficult, rebirth. It is actually the lower realms, if you are committed into the 10 non-virtuous actions, 10 non-virtuous actions. So we need to learn this 10 non-virtuous actions. If you are always committing to the 10 non-virtuous actions, then you will take a rebirth into the lower realms. So 10 non-virtuous actions are, okay, it's classified in like non-virtuous of the body, 3 non-virtuous of that we commit by our body, physical body, verbal, and then mental. The 3 doors. In other words, are 3 doors. The negativities that we create from our 3 doors: body, speech, and mind. Another one's way is a body, speech, and mind. So the body, the number 1, killing, intentionally taking life of any beings. Here's the taking others' life intentionally taking others' life, any beings, okay? Human, animal. This includes also acts of violence. This actually includes the act of violence, also taking others. it's interesting. We have to be really careful. I think, we do not really intentionally kill, I guess, but if you're being cruel for human or animal, that's also kind of, tilting toward killing. That's a danger, yeah. Intentionally taking the life of any beings, human, animal. This also include acts of violence and cruelty. Act of violence and cruelty. So the violence and cruelty, we use this only when you see someone shot or someone stabbed. Often use this word for violence, right? But violence is, we go much deeper than that. I mean, smaller thing. When you say cruelty, if from our mind something that ill will, even if you use like a sweet sort of word, that's cruelty. If our motivation is try to negative intention, if the motivation is negative and like negatively driven, and then using like chibi chibi sort of a word, or maybe beautiful sort of word, or elegant sort of words, that also you know it is actually included into the killing sort of thing, because if you torture again and again and again, so people get traumatized, right? So because of that, we have to be really careful, our watch our what do you call it, watch our own speech and our own physical actions. So I think when you in the Buddhist texts, when you're saying violence and non-violence, what is violence or what is non-violence? Just the majority people in maybe recognize violence meaning war, killing, pushing sort of thing. But if there's ill will is going on, and then using different ways and means to put others into difficult position or difficult situation, these are in a way is really killing is a part of that. Yes.
There's killing, I'm thinking of my father,
Oh,
who was a farmer
okay.
and killed chickens and things.
Okay, now that's yeah, that's really tricky. Yeah, it's really tricky about this of vegetarian, non-vegetarian, issues always there. Intentionally killing, the word that you use, it intentionally killing. And the negative the non-virtuous, the 10 non-virtuous action that we're committing, these keep repeatedly doing again and again, that leads you to reborn into like a lower realms. This is quite clear. Clear meaning cause and effect always, they make the cause and effect, this is the cause, and then the effect will come like that. But your question is
Like, what if your intention is good, but you're still committing
mm,
violence? Like, essentially,
it has to do with that intentionally. Yes, there are people who, I mean, especially people who are non-vegetarian, all right?
The point of trying.
I find it, yeah, a vegetarian there. Yes, yes, yeah.
That wasn't even a consideration in Vermont.
That's right. Okay, but anyway, when there's another, there's a flexibilities could be have. We could have some flexibility there, but not really too much excuse, I guess.
the intention has very much.
The intention has the thing exactly. The intention is ill-willing, meaning harmful willing, the will of harm that person, and the ill-willing intention. When the committing this actual killing, it has to have the 4 different kind of components there. The intentionally, the intention is really want to harm that in beings. I'm pretty probably he don't have the intention to harm that chicken, but it's just a way of living. It's just a way habit that people eat like a chicken or pork or different. It's just, I think you study about the evolution thing and the people, how the way of living that has been here. So the intention is very important. I'm pretty sure it's not really intentionally hurt that chicken, but it's sadly many people use chicken or a fish, as a food. What to do in but intentionally killing, sorry, the intention is hurting that and then killing, and then the action, people, some people, they give so much hardship. And I mean, when the action, whether you're really cutting their throat, or maybe, I don't know, whatever the electricity thing I heard this in a different kind of farms. How do they kill like a chicken or fish or others? Like they put into a machine and just smash it or something like that. I don't know.
It's good.
The action and giving too much pain repeatedly again, with this ill will, or the like the intention of the hurting. I want to give him like punishment. Another word is to give sort of punishment that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
To sell it, to
yeah,
some of it for yourself.
yeah. The action, and then when you kill when the taking others' life, killing means taking others' life, right? When you're really able to kill that, beings, different ways, different kind of action that you use, and when you see that being is separated, their life is gone, and then if you are rejoicing what you have done with your actions, that's a really really heavy sort of non-virtuous action that you're creating. That she samba jowa in Tibetan you say, one minute, she samba jowa taktu four, you know base, another word is base, meaning other beings, like a different mental continuum than yourself, other beings, not other than yourself. That's base. And then the intention is cruelty, the ill-willing, hurting intention. And then the action, you use so many different methods or different ways and means, and I don't know, torturing these, like a chicken or maybe human. And for example, the people who put, some people who have no committed any kind of crime, then they put into prison, and then they torture them so badly for like try to us, even though they haven't done anything, just try to make them, suffer, make them traumatizing. These are also, the action, included in the action. And then once that person life is completely gone, then you are really happy, rejoicing, maybe celebrating sort of thing. If you are committing bad way, that's very, very heavy kind of killing, committing killing. So okay. And then the same, the four opponent, we call it opponent. I don't know, the 4 points, and it could apply all of them. From body, from physical body, you could kill, stealing, and sexual misconducts. There's 3 of them that we commit from our body. Okay, I'll just give all the numbers today, and then we can go one by one a little bit more. From body, from our physical body, we commit killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. It's meaning like a behavior cause harm others. The main thing is the will, the mind that harm others, and then actually acting, harming, really harming, and then at the end you are rejoicing. If these 3 are there, then we are committing really really bad karma. Yeah, then if you commit that, we will report you to law ram, either animals or animals or health or hungry ghosts.
You're not coming back from that.
Well,
Okay, but.
okay, then speech, four that you commit from your speech, verbal. Lying, deliberately deceiving others through falsehood. Lying. Number 1 is lying. And what does it mean by lying? deliberately deceiving others through falsehoods. You need to understand that deliberately, intentionally try to, deceive others and try to find the kind of falsehood, mean the false of others, even though there's not, maybe there's a slightly, but exaggerating. Sometimes this kind of happens too, right? Deliberately deceiving others through falsehood. That's lying. And then number 2, divisive speech. So this need to, if someone is new, you need to write down them. And this divisive, sorry, divisive speech. Divisive speech is, and the meaning is what? Speaking in ways that create conflict or disharmony between people, and gossip. I think we gossip a lot sometimes. I think stop. You should stop like this. You have to remind the mindfulness need to be, always play. If you start that, okay, you just do like this. One of my teachers actually often tell, like, when you have the class, and then it just goes, about, for example, this gossip things. And what is gossip? What is divisive speech? And explain that. And then sometimes picking up some kind of example, and he just go, oh, no. Just go, I'm not going to say anymore. That's good, actually. It's a reminder. It's really a reminder. Cross your, like, I'm not going to do anymore. It's none of my business. So similar thing, we have to do that too. Oh no, I'm not going to say anything for others. I don't know what kind of intention that person have, right? Okay. Number 2 is divisive speech, which is, it's create, if you do this, divisive speech, it's create disharmony, dishonesty, and then conflict. At the end, conflict, and then slowly the conflict escalate, and then maybe we can create our own kind of small kind of war, war zone. I'm just joking. And then number 3, harsh speech, harsh, yes. So the harsh speech often come with the anger, right? Using angry, hurtful, or abusive words. In other words, abusive words. Using angry, hurtful, abusive words. These are, harsh speech. And then the number 4, idle chatter. It's called idle chatter, but another thing is, I think, gossip too. Some people often use a gossiping. Idle chatter is also a good word. Gossiping for meaningless, for without any meanings, without any kind of purpose or any reason. Keep just talking for nonsense. These are gossiping. It's a wasting time, right? Wasting time. Yeah, talking meaninglessly, excessively in way that waste time and distract people, and also too much. Yeah, distract people, and if you that, then the virtues will be, won't be, possible to get. Okay, that's a 4 from the non-virtues of speech. And then non-virtues from the mind. There are 3. 3. Number 1 is covetousness, yes. So this is actually what you say: strongly desire others' possession or success, or jealous and greed. Within the motivate the mind, the affliction mind, with this happened because of you greedy or jealous for someone, then this covetousness could have, I mean, the mind. Number 3 is ill will, wishing harm. Oh, number 2, sorry.
Just making sure we didn't miss.
Right, wishing harm others. Napsim Nasim Nokta. No, sorry, Napsim Nasim Nokta. Yeah, ill will is okay, I guess. But the main thing is, wishing harms others, hatred in a way. Yeah, wishing harm others, harboring hatred or resentment. That's the main thing. And then number 3 is wrong views. Wrong views, Here, wrong views could be like, cause and effects non-existence, Buddha is non-existence, and why we have to think about the future life or previous life. This is the only life I have got. I can enjoy, indulge in whatever you want. This kind of, mental attitude. It's the wrong view in a way. We all have the wrong views. So we have got all the 10 non-virtuous action, right? And that the opposite is the non-virtuous action. There's a 10 non-virtuous action. If you engage to the opposite of which is the virtuous action. If you, live with the principle of the 10 virtuous actions, that will cause us to reborn into the higher realms. Higher realms meaning here human, gods, and demigods, where you have more opportunity to engage into spiritual practice, where you are more, opportunity to, create better cause and condition that bring us more happiness, successful life, oneself and others. This is what, this is. So the number 8 where, we study the suffering of lower realms, so difficult to bear. The lower realms. What is lower realms? We have 3 lower realms. Yes.
Well, why is it only the lower realms? Because you think about the immense suffering that humans have, especially think about a child born in Gaza today, and they're bombing, they never even have a chance, they never even have a life, unbearable suffering from day one. Like,
Even
why
though
is
they're
it
born
only-
into a human realm.
Yeah, even though they're born into a human realm, like, why is that not?
But yes, that's true. But yeah, sometimes we have often said that even when you on this very our own, planet, where the human also are having so much suffering, unbearable, but still they are human being. But the thing is, non-virtuous action, by creating this negativities with this non-virtuous. Okay, here, non-virtuous action. If you create this karma, you will reborn into the lower realms. The lower realms, suffering is something beyond than the Gaza or somewhere else. If you read all this, but where are they? Whether we see them here or not, I'm not sure. There are some could be there, but mostly in these hell realms, the coldness, the hotness, all these 18 different types of suffering they are suffering, something that you can't imagine at all. It's much, 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 much more painful and much, much, much more intense than the in the war here. But the human, okay, here now, where you say even though you're a human, to burn as a humans, it's contaminated karma. Are you getting? What are you getting? What I'm saying? Contaminated virtuous action. Human and gods and demigods, you know, the cause or the karma has to be virtuous, but the virtuous is contaminated. Are you getting what do you mean?
Yeah, but it seems like such a fine line. My dog has a better life than these people, like, even though they don't because they can't actualize.
No,
So they don't have. Actualize, I understand that it's harder to be.
Seemingly, yes, but it's dark. You have no intelligence like the human beings. Yeah, there's a you can yeah, that's really true. Sometimes even yeah, when yeah, we often say this, but in reality, human beings are much much superior. Than there's a way that you could, but the whoever them bombing them, it's not really big because of them. It's just so many. Maybe they have another thing is, but the karma and effects, it's not really like kind of someone else create for us. We have created it. So since they have created it, they have to, face the consequences in a way. But it's not really kind in the form of revenge. What you're saying about this human being who are suffering in Gaza or maybe Ukraine or Russia, and my dogs and cats are much better situation than that. Maybe this life, yes, your dog maybe is in luxuries in life, because he or she have created something good karmas. Maybe he or she has been like good generous, practicing generosity in previous life. Because of that, he or she is enjoying this, the fruit that he have been practiced the generosity in the past previous life. But he or she didn't really practice the morality correctly, and because of that, he or she is born as a cat or dog. And then, yes.
Are we, are you implying maybe that the children in Gaza or whatever are suffering because of continuing karma, like they were reincarnated into a shitty place? Is
It
that
must have
because of that?
not it's really tricky thing. Sometimes you have to be really we have to make really kind of a good distinction here. It may that definitely that it's everything's all comes comes because of cause and condition and the karmas, but you can't really always say that's your karma. You need to face it, because you could create new karma too. Those people who are bombing them, they are creating new karma, new bad karma.
Or is it
We should
possible-
try it.
so
Yes.
Is it possible that people could be born there because essentially they're bodhisattvas and they're there to help?
Definitely,
Because they're because of-
definitely,
They
definitely,
could be there because
definitely. There are
you're supposed to help.
Not
definitely.
everything is due to karma. For example, if we have an earthquake and are all killed, that wasn't due to karma.
The
That was
collective
just-
karma, or maybe nature also there. Karma have also a sophisticated thing. You need to make a different classification in the karma, but you can't really say everything is karma. You just stay with it. No, we can redirect it. We can repair it. We can remove the negative one and then create the like a positive one.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Lower realms.
Yeah. There's always because of our mind. Yes.
My apologies.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Sorry. Sometimes it is hard to hear the questions. And when I don't hear the question, I mean, for me, it is
I'm
very
sorry,
difficult even to figure out what was the question on the basis of your answer. So I'm sorry, maybe the people that can speak a little up. Some of the
Louder.
people I can hear very well. I'm sorry to interfere.
Sure. Okay. The question was, there were two questions, right? 2 or 3.
Well, this one
yeah.
doesn't say the lower realms. The one you were
Oh.
say specifically the lower realms, right?
Yeah.
But this one just says unbearable suffering of bad rebirths. But that book said of the lower realms.
Yeah, it is. Right. Okay, Hansla, one question was actually the first in the verse number 8. Verse number 8, where you have the suffering of the lower realms, so difficult to bear, is that the Buddha taught to the fruit of negative actions. So, and then I was actually explaining about what are the negative actions, and then mainly what are the, like a negative karma that lead you to reborn into lower realms. And then Scott was asking about the lower realms, why it's necessarily been no lower realms, because there are people who are suffering unbearably. For example, in Gaza, the children are killing, and he was making some comparison about my dogs and cats are much better life than that people who are in this war zone. So this was the question. And another question is about the killing. I was actually explaining about this number 8, verse number 8, where you said the lower realms, and the lower realms actually how beings take reborn into lower realms. The main cause, the karmic, main karma, or the main causes to the reborn into the lower realm is that if you commit the 10 non-virtuous action, you will be reborn into lower realms. And then what are the lower realms? Just briefly, 3 lower realms. But we didn't go into detail about this 18 different types of, the hell realms. And then the hungry ghosts also are like, I think 3 or 4 different types are there. And then animals, so many, many numbers. So then that was and then because of why the question was about, even though in a human being, there's so many, kind of suffering is there, isn't that not, isn't that the fruit of non-virtuous action? That was the question, right? I don't think that was, I mean, the suffering, taking reborn as human beings is virtuous action, is a result of virtuous action. Are you getting it? You pause a little bit.
Just, yeah, it's just a line, right? It's a
Yeah.
continuum of
Yes.
virtuous and non-virtuous actions are.
Yes, that's a lesson, Sarah.
It's almost like the
Right.
Christianity, like there's some scorecard of whether you're going to heaven or hell based on all.
You have to speak a little loudly because they can see.
So you wonder about, between the animal and human realm of the extreme suffering of someone in the human realm that never had a chance.
Right.
To this, horrible war zone and killed immediate,
Yeah.
with this my dog who gets to live at this, happy life and gets.
But
I understand.
but yeah, that's true. But it's not just one lifetime. It's just one life, discussion. It's I was saying the dogs have taken a good life this life. The explanation could be Hugh may have practiced some generosity in the past. The generosity practice and generosity, these are interesting kind of explanations are there. Practice and generosity, you will have like good wealth in the future lifetimes. This is what is explained. But the generosity of three different types of generosity are there. But but if she have not really ethically practiced that generosity, you won't be reborn into human. Anyway, you need to go a little more detail in there, but don't worry. And just your dog is not, I wouldn't say that your dog is much better than the human, like a child or human who are killed in Gaza or Ukraine. Yes, definitely the Ukraine, Russia, and Gaza, and different parts of the world where this war, conflict, bombing is happening. It's not because of, probably they may have some karma that they have created, the collective, in other words, the collective karma. And many people ask about Tibet, what happened, the whole country have to suffer so much, what kind of karma you have created. And His Holiness often says, you may have created some collective karma in the past, collectively created bad or negative karmas, and then you may have to consequences, face the consequences collectively, meaning, but the very subtlest way of when that kind of karma created, how did that kind of karma created, it's very, very subtle. But the main thing when you need to keep in our mind is, if you do right thing, the result will be right. If you do bad thing, the result will be bad. This is law of nature. It's not really like somebody created it or somebody imposed you to believe in it. You don't have to believe in it. But it's not really the question of whether you believe or not. It's a reality. It's a law of nature. This is what it is, explaining this kind of thing. And then whether the lower realm is exists or not, or whether the hell is exists or not, another whole question. Yes, definitely, if you create really, really negative karma, then the result will be really negative, definitely. Same example, if you plant like poison, seed in the ground, and the poison leaves and fruits and everything grow, and then it will kill you, or maybe, the whole, environment could be polluted. This kind of things are there. External cause and condition are more kind of example or a metaphor, and then the mainly internal karma is coming. Okay, I think we have time is already only 4 minutes left, right? Am I right? Oh, it's already 11:30. So anyway, so what the make some kind of analysis, or maybe when you do some meditation at home about what are the non-religious action am I creating in daily life out of body, speech, and mind, and we have to be really honest to ourselves. Otherwise, it won't work. Meaning, honest to ourselves. If we are trying to be honest to ourselves, you won't deceive ourselves. it won't lead us into the, like a wrong place for self. Meaning, I mean, place mean our own mind and our own actions. So do a little bit, I have to do a lot, even though I studied long, but I know to transforming mind is not easy at all. So changing the mind, changing the attitude. So it takes time, but then you see, we really need to do something with this. We need to work with this. So then the more you, analyze, the more you give thought on it, and the more that you get more kind of profound and more motivated to work in this path. It is just bad for ourselves, and then if we feel bad for us for the long term, long vision, long term, and then the others too, right? Main thing is the motivation has to be something that I really want to make benefit rather than hurt in the society. That's very important. Okay. All right. I think we should stop here, and by doing, a few seconds, dedication. And so any positive or good, atmosphere, my body, speech, and mind that we have created from this class, to dedicate that to dedicate mean I want to save it to utilize for the future as long as possible. And then at the same time, dedicate that whatever the virtuous action that we have created with our body, speech, and mind, to dedicate that to, the peace, harmonies, compassion, the message of compassion from His Holiness to reach each and every being's heart, the whole universe, and then dedicate that to His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all the enlightened beings live long to continue their noble work, their blessing or their action, their legacy that continue until the samsara end, until the cycle of the suffering, until the suffering beings free from the suffering and get complete peace and happiness. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Please help yourself achieve and stand for faith. And also,
Okay.
flyer.
Bye bye.
So people know about our celebration. Also, so, and I don't want to say, talk a little bit about the plans.
Okay, bye.